health crisis. Mental health first aider is trained to identify, understand, and respond.
Many people are not well informed about how to recognize mental health problem, respond.
Hi, Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. Welcome to the Jumpstart Your Career Talk or JYC Talk by EduCity. I am Farah and I'll be your MC for today. A warm welcome to all participants and viewers today who are watching EduCity Series 6, Jumpstart Your Career Talk streamed live on Zoom and EduCity Official's Facebook. Thank you for participating in today's event. Today's session will feature Ms Orealia Soliano, head of MYNext, as the speaker and moderated by Ms Raja Yasmin, Vice President of Comms and Branding at EduCity Iskandar. Ms Orealia and Ms Yasmin will take you on a deep dive on the topic of harnessing skills beyond the classroom. Our speaker, Ms Orealia, has grown professionally with prominent experience in the creative realm. Ms Orealia career milestone include being the head of film department and strategy team in 2019, while also holding the title of Mind Valley's CEO and Artist Talent Manager. Prior to joining Talent Corp, she was Director of Global Operations, Genius Productions Canada, where she held the responsibilities of being the Global Director of Russell Brand and Eckhart Tolle Productions, both digitally and physically. A little bit of insights of having extra skills, learning outside the classroom is known to contribute significantly to raising standards and improving pupils' personal, social, and emotional development. It will also support improved standards outside the classroom, raising attainment, reducing truancy, and improved discipline. For viewers, both Zoom and Facebook platforms, we would like to encourage you to be active in this session by interacting with us in the comment section and posting your questions in the Q&A box. So without further ado, I will pass the session to my colleague, Yasmin, as our moderator for today. Over to you, Yasmin.
Hello, everyone. My name is Yasmin, and I'll be the moderator for today's event. Very, very honored to have Ms Orealia Soliano because I think, as the MC Farah mentioned, coming from such a strong and creative background, I think I just want to sort of backpedal and reiterate her background. Prominent experience in the creative field. Started off as the head of film department strategy while also holding title of Mind Valley CEO and author for talent manager. I think if you guys know Mind Valley, you know how what such a global phenomenon it is. And then she was also director of global operation for Genius Production Canada, holding the responsibility of global director for Russell Brand and Eckhart Tolle Production. So I think it's very interesting because knowing that we have such a fantastic speaker today, I hope all the participants will stay tuned until the end of her presentation because we have a Q&A session. Please take this opportunity to post in your questions and along the presentation slides, we will also sort of putting up polls that you can answer. So without further ado, I would like now to invite Ms. Orealia to give her presentation.
Thank you, everyone. So flattered. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We're flattered to have you as our speaker today. I mean, you are literally an international speaker. And perhaps we just can't wait. I think all of our participants can't wait to have, basically to have a little bit slice of that knowledge that you'd like to share with us today.
Most definitely. It's very exciting. I've spoken in EDU City, I think, just last December, and it was quite a fun occasion as well. And I'm so excited to be here with everyone today. I hope you're going to have quite a fun time. We're going to have a little bit of a presentation for about 20 minutes where we'll go through, but we are opening the floor to questions. So definitely prepare some questions. Ask me anything, my past, my present, the future.
Oh, yes, of course. We will take this opportunity. I think I'm just telling all the participants today that consists of, I know there's going to be those with many types of backgrounds today that join us. But I think it's all about knowing that I think at the end of the day, how do we future-proof our career? How do we really have that skills that just goes beyond the classroom? Definitely. So perhaps if you're ready, Ms. Orealia,
yeah, let's do it.
We can't wait. We can't wait. So.
All right. Let's start the presentation. Let me just share my screen, guys. All right, is everyone able to see my screen? Yeah. Fantastic. All right, so today we're bringing back the topic of harnessing skills beyond the classroom. This is a very, very a topic that's very close to my heart, and I've always felt, as well as growing up in high school. I studied here yes, I'm a Malaysian. I was born in Malaysia, studied in Malaysia, but I had a musician father. And we traveled for quite a bit. So we traveled within the country. And I was for a moment in KL, and then we were in Malacca, and I actually finished my high school in Langkawi. So sometimes you may probably hear my Kedah slang come out, but not very much. But yeah, so when I was studying in high school, I always felt that there was more to what I was studying. I knew it's very important to have the education, have the knowledge, but what's the extra oomph that is going to get me a little bit of a recognition, or a little bit of to be able to be seen by the people I'm going to embark on my professional journey, for example. When I was choosing my degree, as I went on to choose what I wanted to study, I was very, very intrigued of the human mind. And I was like, I'm so different. I have a twin sister, and my twin sister is so different. My parents are different. What is, trying to understand our different types of personality, our different ways of approaching life and approaching our professional journey. So then I decided I'm going to take up psychology in my university. So I took up psychology and communication, because within that both realm, communication is such an incredible tool we can have in our professional journey. But also psychology was the ability for me to not only understand myself, but also understand the people around me, the people's, my family around me, my colleagues around me, and being able to understand the human part of us is where I was able to maneuver through my growth professionally. So, which is where we're here today. And I'm currently in Talent Corp, and I actually joined this program last year, January, after I came back from Canada. And I was thinking, when I was told about this particular opportunity about MYNext. MYNext is such an incredible tool in self-awareness, which is where we're going through our presentation today. So let me introduce you a little bit about MYNext is about, but I have a couple of stories and information that I would like to share with you guys that we've put together. So as I was saying about knowledge, right? Knowledge is very, very important. Knowledge is something that our family and even our schools would teach us that this is something that we require in our growth, which is very true. Knowledge should be taught as something that is lifelong. It should be taught of something that is a constant learning process for us. Why I would say that is that every year, if you notice, within your textbooks, for example, ada version 3, version 5, it changes every year. Got so many different types of version. And with each new version is because there is new information, there is new knowledge that is being put out within our textbooks or within any program that we're in. So thinking about knowledge is where we need to reset our mindset. Knowledge is not just something we study in high school, in sekolah menengah, or in our college. Knowledge is something that you should be able to have a lifelong mindset of wanting to learn what you're studying. I went through psychology and in communications in college, but after leaving it, whatever I studied in my university wasn't something that stopped there. Every year it needs to be evolved. That's where we go through trainings, or we read, or we keep ourselves informed with the field that they're in. So yes, knowledge is very important, but is it enough to kickstart your career? According to the World Economic Forum, in 2020, it's a survey that was released. The WEF said that knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. The sentence "knowledge is power" is no longer relevant, especially in the current climate where there is far too many graduates. There are so many graduates graduating on a yearly basis. In Malaysia itself, there's about 400,000 students who graduate on a yearly basis into the country. So if that's the case, then how do these students stand out in the sea of professionals? Every student, more and more, especially today's youth, you find that the youths are very much more attached to knowledge. Their understanding of technology and knowledge is very important, and they understand the importance of it. So everyone is actually quite knowledgeable. More and more students, you see, they can use iPhones better than we can. You know, they know how to maneuver through the iPads. iPad for a 3-year-old it's now so natural. So
it's their playground.
It's their
playground.
They're constantly on it. I'm like, how does this 4-year-old knows how to use this iPad? You know?
Yeah, my daughter, who is 9 years old, is literally editing videos now. For TikTok, and she downloads app that I do not have any knowledge of, and she just change it according to whatever right. TikTok videos that she learns and she edits. I think we
exactly.
have it's what do you call that? A different world now that we live
yes, in. Definitely. I think the world today is so evolved, and the youths are so evolved, and it's gonna be like this as the years progress. The younger they are, it's gonna be the younger and younger ones that are gonna be more advanced, not just in the knowledge, but in the technology that we have that's evolving, which I find very, very beautiful. But then again, there's so many of them, right? There's so many students who, when we go through all these resumes, they're like, all of you are qualified, so many of you have what it takes, but then how do the professionals choose them, right? So as individuals, we are often actually plagued with making decisions that are right. Correct me if I'm wrong here. When we're selecting our degree, we're selecting what we want to study, usually, especially in our culture, we go to our parents. We go to our parents and ask us who...
the parents should be in capital letters. Asian parents, yeah?
Asian
tiger
parents.
moms and tiger dads.
are the ones who's like deciding for us. You know, you should take up this. You should be a lawyer. You should be a doctor, because possibly could be a career that is gonna keep you successful or stable in the future, right? But our parents is not wrong either.
Yeah.
All they know is what they know as
Correct.
to what was known at their time. Yes, all these different roles are known to be an important, prominent role.
Doctor, engineer, lawyers. If you can't get that degree, you better marry one.
Yes, that's exactly what they say, right? Yeah. But if you see today with technology, with all the different roles that have arisen, all these different roles have much better. So sorry about that. I was hearing a little bit of white noise. I'm like, oh, I hear better now. Okay. Yeah, so as I was saying, like, with all the different technologies as arise, there are more and more roles that are out there in the market right now. There are more and more different types of careers or profession that is open up to all the students currently. Technology is not just to one type of role, as in previously would say it's a tech engineer, but now in technology there's more to working in tech. There's marketing, there is sales, there's business development, there's content creation, but they also sit in the realm of technology. So usually for students, I guess even for myself, when I was selecting a degree, the first thing was, will my parents approve? Will they say it's okay? I've had cousins as well, was like, maybe we should take a subject that it's much more known as to what is important, right? But I guess that's not the case. And then they're also choosing a career path that aligns with the status quo. Oh, my friends are taking this subject, maybe I should do it. Or, all my friends are doing architecture, or all my friends are doing mass communication, maybe I should go towards that part. And then there's also the ones that are settling because they are unaware of the beauty on the other side of fear. There are fear in what that will may be. So because they're unsure of it, they're unaware of it, possibly they just choose according to whether it's what their friends are gonna take or what their parents are asking of them. But if you think about it, all these questions arise with the student comes from uncertainty. They are not sure of what courses to take. I'm sure a lot of you here and a lot of you students are who is currently watching. You're thinking, okay, I need to go to uni soon. I need to start figuring out what subjects or what career I want to be in. But how can you decide? How can you decide on a career? I mean, you're finishing SPM, and the moment you're done, you have to make a choice of, this is what I'm going to do for the next of my life, the rest of my life. And that choice can be quite nerve-wracking for some. Some may feel a little bit nervous or fearful as to, is this the right path for me? Is this something that I really want to experience in my life? But what we're trying to say is that you are not just another product, and for all you youths, you're not just another product of societal norms. And that's what makes you great. All of us are very singular and we are very different. If you think about our thumbprints, we use our thumbprints as our biometric in our passports, our IC, is because it's very singular to us. It's special to us. And it's the same with our brain. It's the same with ourselves. We are all individually ourselves. Our brains are developed and function individually to ourselves. And that's what makes all of us unique. And when we are able to think about ourselves outside comparing ourselves to others and find clarity within and what we are meant to do, and then you see the fear starts diminishing, the uncertainty starts going away. And there's another study that was done by Wong Suk Kwan and Pauline Ko Chai Lin on emotional intelligence. What they were saying is that on emotional intelligence as predictors of student readiness to the workforce, it was found that there are 4 elements that could predict a student's ability to assimilate into a workforce. And among the 4, actually self-awareness was identified as the most important. So the 4 elements include was self-awareness, self-regulation, self-motivation, and social skills. And with these 4 items within a student, the student is able to healthily transition from student to workforce. But as you can see, and as they've mentioned within their study, self-awareness is the one that is the most important for them as they embark into their professional future or their professional career. And why self-awareness? And if you think about self-awareness, for me, it took me a while as well. It wasn't like, one day and oh, I was gonna go into creative field and I was gonna go bring my psychology background into creative field. I had no idea I was gonna do things like this. But I remember I was in a position when I was in the university, and I was feeling a little bit of a place of uncertainty. Did I make the right decision to choose psychology? Did I make the right decision? Is this the right path for me? And I actually went to Help University, and they had this program where you can take a assessment to see what careers are fitted to your personality type. And at that assessment, I've done so many questions. It's about, I think, 200 questions that you need to answer. And I answered through all these questions, and it came out that I was fitted for the creative field. I was like, oh, okay, I knew that, I knew the creative field was something for me, but um, there's still a little bit more that I felt I didn't know enough about myself. I didn't know what whether that career was suited for my way of personality type, the way I function as a professional. I had no idea. And what's beautiful about that is that we won't have the answer immediately. We have to journey through it. We have to go through these experiences to understand what we like or dislike. We don't know until we experience it. But what's also beautiful is that through self-awareness, we are actually able, and we're more and more, if you're more and more able to understand yourself, you're more able to maneuver through your professional field in a more, healthy way, because then you're able to say, okay, this doesn't work for me, rather than let's try it and let's see if it works. But the ability of self-awareness is you can now manage your risk factors. You can manage if this is risky or not. Is this decision risky or not, right? So what does it mean to be self-aware? Knowing what you're good at and what you're passionate about and your motivators. So usually what we will ask the students is, and this is something that you want to be able to personally ask these questions while you're probably at home, while you're having some time for yourself, and try to create clarity on what you really want. Put aside your thoughts of your external factors, of whether it's your siblings, your family, or your friends for the moment. Try to think of the life you want to create. So try to ask the questions for yourself. One, why have you chosen your subject of study? If you've chosen this subject, for example, you're going to take mass communication or hospitality. Why that? What was the decision that drove you to pick that study? When you're able to understand and identify the why, you will see that the passion that you put into this particular field or the subject, it changes. It becomes more, this is something I love, rather than something I have to do. So it's a very two different part of approaching your working profession. The second thing you want to ask yourself is, what do you enjoy doing most in life? So there's this question on and something my parents have told me many times was like, you can't compare what you love and what you have to do. Your job is your job, your hobby is your hobby. But as we progress in our today's world and with the 21st century, we are finding more and more people doing the job they actually love. They're doing the job that actually makes them feel fulfilled. And I don't think it's wrong for us to identify what we enjoy doing most. And if we try and if we experience it and we practice through it, it may possibly turn out okay. And it may possibly turn out to be even more than okay. So the ability here is to understand what you love to do. And there's a possibility of us maneuvering through that and trying that to see if it works. There's no harm doing it. But then there are also people who have things that they enjoy as hobbies and do not want to have it as work, and that's also totally fine. So my hobby is I love plants, and I love I'm a plant mom, and I have a bunch of plants in my house, but that doesn't necessarily mean I want to go into plant business. I enjoy even hobby in gardening and doing my plants, but that's not necessarily what I want to do professionally. So then you see there are differences to us, which is why I said all of us are very different in how we function. So we just need to find something that fits right to us and our personality or our way of life. And the third question we want to ask ourselves is, what kind of work would you most like to do? We all watch movies. We see the people around us. We watch a movie, for example, we see a lady who's a lawyer. We're like, maybe I want to be a lawyer. Maybe I want to be like that lady who's in a business meeting or who's doing sales or who's a leader in a corporate company. There are so many different jobs and roles. There are thousands of jobs and roles. But think about, what kind of work would you want to do? What do you visualize yourself? Do you see yourself in a coat and or in a particular uniform? Write that down and think of all the roles that or jobs or work that you find to be attracted to because you see yourself in that position. And then the last question you want to ask yourself is, how do you organize your work and prioritize your tasks? Why this question is there is because every single job is different. Every single job has a different way of organizing their work and a different way of organizing their tasks. Some jobs doesn't require much organization. It doesn't require much prioritization of tasks. Some jobs do. When you identify what kind of work pattern you have or the way you organize yourself as well as how you want to organize your work as well, you're able to see the type of job or career that may be suited to that role. So sometimes some people or some of us, we may want a particular role or job that is in a particular way. Some people like it exactly A, B, C, straight to the point. I come to work, I finish my work and I leave. But some like it differently. Some may like it a little bit more fluid, and especially in the creative field. In the creative field, it's a little bit more fluid. Everyone, it's a lot of brainstorm session. It's a lot of, going back and forth with ideas, not necessarily very straight cut like how finance would be, for example. So it's very different way of working. And when you are able to identify how you organize your work and how you prioritize your tasks, you may be able to identify whether that work that field of work that you're looking at and you want to be in, whether it suits the way you organize your stuff, right? Or how you are as an organized person. And then when you go through all these 4 questions, you are able to actually see, you come to a place of self-awareness, one, and you're able to see like, okay, possibly this is the career I want to go into. So that's where we come about to simplify all this for you. So within Talent Corp, what we've done is we found self-awareness was such a powerful tool, and to be able to minimize the mental battle that students or youth goes through from choosing the subject they want to study in university to choosing the career they want to go into, that process sometimes takes years. I've known my cousin, for example, have taken a subject, a field of study when he was 18, but when he was 22 is when he realized this is nothing what he wants to do and goes on to take another degree in something else. And what happens then, you're studying for 8 years, and 8 years just has gone by for studying, and then you go on to only to your working life when you're about 26, 28, which can be a little bit later on for some people. But it is fine. Some of us are able to only identify what we like at a different time. We all function at different timelines. But what we wanted to do is try and help minimize that timeline. So how we wanted to minimize this timeline is to develop a product to help the students identify themselves, identify their strengths, their weaknesses through a list of assessments, for example. So MYNext, a product that what I'm currently managing within Talent Corp, we are a technology, a fully online product that is a vital link between the education system as well as to the future employability. What we do is we set the graduates on a path of fulfilled lifelong learning and purpose by helping individuals define and chart their career path through our MYNext product, which is an all-in-one easy-to-use platform where we have students, companies, universities, and the workforce together. And this product is basically a talent solution and analytics platform for our users, for youths, for our employers, as well as our universities. And together, This is the 3 products that we currently have. We have MYNext Talent, which is for people, for like you and I, for the youths, for the students. And within MYNext Talent is students are able to go through a list of assessments. We've developed a list of assessments for students to identify where they are at currently, professionally or educational wise. Where are they for example, value level? What are their value preferences? When you are able to understand what value fits you and what kind of value you want to be in. For example, some of us may want to work in a particular organization that holds particular values, and a different organization carries different values. And when you're able to identify what is your value, you can choose an organization that resonates with your value. And that way also create a more happier work-life balance overall. So we also, within the MYNext Talent, we created a dashboard, as you can see on the left here. So the dashboard is where it's personalized to each of a student. When they go in, they're able to take through each of the assessment. We also have blogs and updates where we share articles and any recent studies or recent news that we've found very much useful for the students. And we'll be placing it here more and more on a weekly basis as we populate the product. And then on the left side, you can see here, we have also created an internship feature for the students. What we found is that internship is also such a crucial part of a student's journey. For me, for example, my internship was fetching coffee and photostating. You know, everyone goes through a different experience for internship, but we wanted to be able to create an internship program for students that are conducive, productive, and something that they can actually learn when they leave the internship. So within Talent Corp, what we did was we created this program called Structured Internship Program. Within Structured Internship Program, an employer who comes through our portal to post an internship program are required to provide a framework and a structured framework to Talent Corp. Each approved structured framework is only then shared to the students to apply for internship. This way, we ensure the students go through a structured program that when they leave their internship before they go into employment, they are actually coming out of that with more skills, with more experience, that when they go into their first job, they feel more confident overall and not fearful of any experience that they're going through. So internship is a very important path that we feel before they embark on. And then on the talent side, we also have My CV. So we found that developing CVs was something that we all of us go through online and find CV templates, resume templates, and we find the best ones and we developed it and for us to send through. But what we found is that there are ways to within your CV that you can create more attraction to the person who's hiring you on the way you place the information within your CV. So what we've developed is within My CV, you are able to populate the data of where you are currently, what kind of information you want to share with the employers, and also information that you want to share in regards to your personality type that you can share within the platform. And then you can apply for your internship postings via this platform as well. What we're also doing is we're currently building a new feature where students are able to download the CVs immediately from the platform so they can keep it with themselves as well. The CV is the first paper or information that is received by the employers or an organization, and as the first point of contact, it's a very important place to basically show what your abilities are before you're sending it to your employers, right? So that's MYNext Talent, and MYNext Company is for the internship postings. And then for MYNext University is developed for the universities and the institutions where we wanted to be able to also support universities on having the visibility of the status of their students, or the place of where their students are currently are, emotionally as well as professionally, or through their education. So we have tests within our product, which is one, the future of work, where we are able to identify if the students are ready for the future, which is technology. Are they ready for what's going to continuously evolve and change within our world of tech? So the assessment helps the students identify where they are, and then the university is able to take that information and create interventions or programs for the students to help them be even more industry ready and close their gaps overall. We've also included English proficiency. We found that English is a global language and it is used worldwide in majority of the organizations. 90% of Malaysian organizations use English as their forefront language as well. So what we've developed is an English proficiency test where their students are able to see if they are having the minimum requirement of English proficiency before embarking into their professional journey as well. And the universities and teachers and lecturers are able to also possibly create programs or interventions for students to help them learn or enhance their knowledge, whether it's in technology or in their proficiency in their languages. So these three products we find as it helps link this tree from the talents, the universities and companies. And overall, our mission is to create a more self-aware talent pool, as well as a more happier space for the students in their future. I mean, we spend 9 hours to 10 hours of our day at work, which is half of our entire day, and possibly only the mornings and the nights at home. So when you have a big chunk of time given to your professional field, we find that it's important that we feel fulfilled and have a purpose in what we're doing. That way, when we go through our life, at least we go through our life happy lah, not so sad in what we're doing. So through that, we find that self-awareness really helps in ensuring that uncertainty is put to the side. So here's a deeper look into our MYNext dashboard. You are able to discover your personal traits through the MYNext profiling suite. You're able to explore most employable factors and relate it to your career paths. You're able to create a CV that stands out directly on the MyNext portal, and also get connected instantaneously to prominent industry players. And lastly, seek internship opportunities at your desired companies. So you're able, when you click on internship, you're able to go through a list of companies that are posting for internship opportunities. Currently, right now, we have about 1,058 companies on board, and companies like Top Glove and Berjaya and so forth that are a part of our program to ensure we provide with structured internships or programs for the youths of the country. So here's the MYNext profiling suite that you will be experiencing. We have work values, which is we use actually the Ventergott quality of work-life framework to make fully informed career choices. So work values is basically, like I've mentioned earlier, what kind of work environment that you want to be in. Is the organization having the same values as you in regards to work life? And then we also have work interests, where we use the RISAC model to identify the kind of work that would feel more fulfilling at what you're doing. So work interest is basically what you want to do, what is suited to your choices, and what you feel is that it's suited for your growth and your future. And then the future of work is where we use McKinsey's 4 domains, which is cognitive, interpersonal, self-leadership, and digital, to identify competencies to be developed. So what it means is that in this 4 realm of future of work, when it comes to technology, self-leadership, interpersonal skills, cognitive skills, when you are able to have the clarity of where you are in regards of these 4 domains, you the students, as well as the companies, as well as the universities, is able to see whether the youth or the talent is ready for the future in regards to technology. Why we say self-leadership? Because when you see more and more companies are looking to have their talents to self-manage themselves, to have more to be able to be empowered to work in a more self-leadership way. And then interpersonal skills, the users, are the talents able to think about what's happening to other cultures? Are you able to adapt and accept the differences of the different cultures, or the different personalities that you're experiencing with or working with, for example? And why we've put this in, because more and more cultures are being brought in. Our country is so diverse. For one, we have so many different kinds of races and cultures all across Malaysia. And being able to have the interpersonal understanding of yourself, you are able to then identify what kind of culture you want to be in as well. And then on the cognitive level is your mindset. How is your mindset ready for change, for innovation? Because the future is constant innovation. Everyone is constantly innovating. Are you ready for that change? Are you ready for that the growth and to be able to evolve into what you need to be as you grow? And then we also have personality and motivation. So within the personality and motivation assessment, we use the ocean model. So through this personality and motivation assessment, you are able to identify unique personal profiles, and how it influence your motivation. So what does this mean? So like I said earlier, we're all different. We all have different personality types. Some of us may say we're about 20% introverts, have 80% extrovert, or you're about 60% introvert, 40% extrovert, and we're mixed. We're mixed at different situations. What it means is that at different with different relationships, and with different relationship, whether it's with your family or with your work or with your friends, all these different relationships that you have, your personality evolves differently. It changes differently. So you, with your parents, your personality may be slightly different from when you are with your friends. So understanding the uniqueness of your personal personality profile can actually help influence your motivation. So motivation is basically our adversity. How are we able to push ourselves and be ambitious? Or if there is something or a career that we want, do you have the motivation to work hard and get there? Self motivation is what gets us there. It's not about people carrying us up. It's about us pushing ourselves towards that. And here you are able to identify how your personality influences your motivation, and also what demotivates you. I find that feature really, really cool. And for example, for myself, when they put there, what demotivates you as a talent is basically misorganization. And I'm like, that's so true, because I'm a little bit OCD. And I prefer things to be more concise, or in a particular manner, right? So for example, all of us, we have different demotivators. Our demotivators could be a particular communication style, or it could be a particular environment. So when you're able to identify what demotivates you, you actually can make decisions on what kind of career path you want to go into, or what kind of journey you want to be in, through just understanding what demotivates you, which is, it's a pretty unique or powerful way to make some decisions within our lives. The next we would have is employability. So for employability, we use the Entrepreneur framework to identify personal competencies that affects employability in today's world of work. What it means is, are we employable for the job we want to go in? So for example, we've taken I've taken psychology, right, in university, and I want to go on to be a therapist. Through the platform, you're able to identify where are you lacking, or where are the gaps for you to be employable in this field. So are you employable, or where where are the gaps or that is missing for you to be employable. And when you're able to see what are the gaps, then you can also make you can go on and do research, you go on and study, or you go on to do a course, for example, to see if you require some support, and then close the gaps more and be more employable to the job that you want to be in the future. And then the last one we have is Career Explorer, where talents are able to explore potential career paths that are matched to their personal profiling. So what does this mean is that we all of us have a type of career choice that we possibly may want to be in, depending of what the knowledge we have within our mind. So throughout as we are growing through as youths, we may think, well, when you may watch a show on a music video on YouTube, and you'll see a drummer and be like, I want to be a drummer, because the drummer looks really cool. Or you see a DJ and I want to be a DJ. Or you see a lawyer on a TV show, I want to be a lawyer. There's so many different things that you may be attracted to just by visual analysis, right? But our personality type and our profiling could also help identify what kind of career matches us. So this is where this particular assessment on Career Explorer, you're able to identify through this list of assessments you've taken above, what careers that are suited to my personality actually. And it's quite interesting, and you'll see a list of different professions looking into like, oh, possibly this career or this career suits you. And sometimes it might be a career that you never thought of. You're like, oh, I'm okay as a doctor, or my personality is an engineer. Wait, okay, I've never thought of being an engineer. It's this kind of information actually helps spark conversation within our minds, and then help us make the decision for our future. So your pathway to success with MYNext, it's a very straightforward experience that we've developed for the students. Everything is online. They can go on to mynext.my. They can complete their About Me section. So within the About Me section is where you select the where you're currently studying, what are you currently taking, what are you planning to take. And then on the third one is where you can discover your MYNext profiling assessment. So you can discover yourself. And on the fourth one, they can test the English proficiency. On the fifth step, you can create your CV. On the sixth step, you can immediately apply for internship already. So it's a pretty straightforward process overall. But before I conclude our presentation, this is a very powerful quote that I found quite profound when I saw this a couple of years ago. There's a saying by Abraham Lincoln that the best way to predict your future is to create it. And it is very true. It's such a strong quote, because it is honestly up to us. It is up to us to create the future we want to be in. We shouldn't expect our parents to, you can't blame anyone else for any situation you're in except for yourself. You create your future, and it's all up to ourselves to create the future we want to be in. And when we start seeing it that way, and we start having the mindset that it's up to us, you will see that your life shift in a different manner. And to share with you why I would say this quote is such a prominent quote to me, before I went on to work in Mindvalley, I was quite fearful. I was thinking, I was working in Malaysia for a long time. I did projects locally, and then I had the opportunity to go on to work in Mindvalley. And I didn't think it was for me, or I didn't know if that was the right path for me. I was fearful. I was scared. I didn't know if I was ready to leave Malaysia and go to the States. Was I ready to leave my parents for one? And all of us are pretty attached to our parents, especially in our Asian culture. Was my parents ready for me to leave? That was also another part. Was my parents ready for me to go like 25-hour flight away from them for a while? And then I thought to myself, if not now, when? And if not me, who? And why not me? And why not take this opportunity. It is up to me anyways for me to create this future for myself. And so I accepted the job, and this young Malaysian girl going on to work with this incredible company, and then going on to at 24 years old to, you know, never left the country but to Indonesia or Singapore, and then go on to be in LA the next day. I found that really wild, because I've never thought of myself leaving the country. I never thought of myself going to the States for one. I thought, I mean, the furthest I'll probably go is Bali. You know, that's the mindset I was in. And then as I progressed by, I'm like, wait, the only person who can make the decisions and that can make the changes for myself is me. And I'm the only person that's holding myself back. So it's up to me to create the future I want to be in. And next thing you know, everything snowballed to wherever I am today. So it honestly is, when you have the courage, you have the adversity, and you have really the fear has been put aside, and you trust yourself and trust and know that you're only human. You make mistakes. You're learning as well. You're constantly learning. You see that you view your life such a different way, and also such beautiful things happens. And now I'm back in Malaysia, and I'm now working in Talent Corp in a GLC, and I find that such a beautiful experience, because now I'm able to do something and empower the youths today to go on and do something that makes them excited and have fun through all the process that you're going to go through. So thank you so much, EduCity, for bringing me on board. That was my last message for everyone. And everyone is able, you can contact us in any of our platforms. I'm also available on LinkedIn. I'm quite active there. And if you have any questions, you can always ask me a question on LinkedIn, and I'm happy to answer it for you guys. Yeah.
Thank you. That was, I think what really makes it interesting is because when we started the show, of course, we went through basically highlighting your resume, highlighting your CVs and your accomplishments. However, that was really, you know, that poster that you are really just the tip of the iceberg. People didn't know how far, or the challenges that you went through to get to where you are now. Yeah. And I think for all the youth out there, to all the students out there, I think it's pertinent. It's very important to understand that wherever you see example yourself now, it's all the glams and glamours and the success was just the tip of the iceberg. But underneath that, you went through a lot.
It's a lot of also mental communication, conversations you have with yourself. There is fear, definitely. It's very natural for us to feel all these thoughts that we're feeling, whether we're good enough, whether is it for me, or am I supposed to go through this? And then there's also definitely other factors that are involved, because when you go in through new experiences, you are always thinking that you are not I'm new at this, so I'm not qualified, you know. And you have all these thoughts that runs in your brain. But then when you start putting aside all this fear, all this like how you say, negative conversations that happens in your mind, you can actually push through. But it's a constant work. It's constant hard work, constant studying, constant learning. I read a book every week, and to keep myself constantly informed. I mean, not every week. Sometimes I'm just like, okay, guys, I'm off for the next month. You know, I'm not going to do this. But you come back and constantly learn. You come back and constantly push yourself to be a better version of yourself. And I used to say this to my sister and my younger cousins: the only competition you have is with yourself. It is not with anyone else. You get better for yourself, not with other people. So don't compete, don't compare, don't think, oh, she's smarter than I am. I'm smart. I'm not as smart as she is. Everyone is smart. Everyone is special.
That is such a toxic environment because of social media. So I think most of our younger audience today, social media can be very toxic. That, as you said, we start to compare ourselves. However, we have come to the Q&A session. wanted to share with you. We do have some questions already from the participant, being number 1. Going back to the earlier slide where you mentioned selecting your degree based on your capital letter parents, understanding of success. How do you convince them? So I think it's funny when you say the biggest competitor or the biggest person that you need to work with is yourself. But for Asian culture, the second person to convince is our parents.
Our parents.
How to convince them of certain not to go with the usual, don't jump on the bandwagon of the usual trend. Having a degree in medicine, having a degree in engineering, or doesn't lead to success or guaranteed employability. How do you start to have that conversation? Perhaps maybe you can share your experience when you said yes to going to the States, when you say to your parents, okay, I'm taking this job, blessed me, how do you do it?
Okay, I can tell you honestly how my parents' reaction was. They're like, "Are you sure?" I mean, of course, I guess they're more fearful. For one, the job I had was head of films, and it's on a film perspective, and then it was also to manage the CEO as an author, and also the authors within the company, and then eventually going on to be in a strategy team. But the strategy team didn't happen before. I went on first to be a head of films. And for my parents, who is Malaysian, they're like, what is head of films? Like, what
do you do?
What are you doing? Yeah, like, what do you do? And I was trying to explain to them and explain to them what film was about. And I said it was more than just film, is that it's more on the operational side of things. And my parents' first thing was, look, we don't know anyone there, and I don't think it's safe. So we can't see if you're safe, and you're a woman and you're a girl, you're our girl. And I said, first of all, no, don't say that. We as women should feel empowered. Yes, happy International Women's Day, everyone. But and I think my parents' fear was so strong that it was instilled on me as well, that I started being fearful. I mean, like, what if something happens? What if it's not safe there? What if I wasn't able to take care of myself? And then I was then second guessing my decisions on whether I should continue or not, or take the job or not. But then as I went through, it was like one day till I had to tell HR if I was taking the job. Just one day.
Is it a yes or a no?
Is it a yes or a no? And then I sat my parents down. I'm like, okay, look, I get it. I get where you're coming from. Don't think that I don't understand you. I don't love you, or I want to leave you. I don't want to leave you. I'm the youngest of 4, and usually the youngest are the one that's most attached to their parents. And I said, I'm not leaving you. I'm not planning to just go and forget you guys. But understand and trust that this is a journey I'm going to experience, and I'll ensure through this journey I will keep you updated. So actually what I did for my mom, who's a little bit paranoid for safety, I turned on my friend finder so she's able to see if I'm safe when I'm back in the hotel room, or 2-3 a.m. because it's 12 hours difference. So when I'm asleep, she's awake. So she'll check if I'm actually in the hotel room at night, or if I'm not, she'll like, hey, are you okay? You're not back yet? And I'll be like, I'm out with some colleagues, or I'm doing some work outside, or whatever it may be. This gave my mom the assurance that I'm going to always make sure that I'm safe, because mothers worry. And I accepted the fact that my mother's always gonna worry. I can tell her, "Mommy, don't worry,"
Correct.
But mothers are always gonna worry, and I had to be smart. It's either you tell it's either you act in a negative way and be like, "Hey, I'm a grown up, I can do whatever I want," or give your mom the love that they just want and the assurance that you're safe. So when I went with that approach, because let me tell you, I was also the other side when I was in uni, where like, I'm in uni now, I'm an adult. I can do, I don't have to tell you everything. And when I found that, when I was more honest and able to make my mom feel comfort in where I am, they gave me the opportunity to make the decisions. And I found that when they trust me first, and they trust that I trust them, and I'm at least informing them of like, hey, I'm safe, I'm good, it's fun. I update them about my work. I'm like, oh, guess who I met today? You know, like if I met a particular professional, and that way, more and more, my parents let go. So what I found.
Sorry to cut you. What I find that very interesting, if I put that in a context for all the students, youth out there, basically what you're doing with your parents is something that you guys should be implementing at your work environment. It's called managing expectations.
Yes.
Managing expectation of your boss, managing expectations of your colleagues, giving them, these are some of the tips that you say.
Yes.
This transition to be in the workforce. These are some of the skills that it's really common sense, and I think it should be implemented at home.
Definitely. Right. I think everything that we have in a professional field also translate to our personal life. And in all these cases, it's actually communication.
Yep.
When you are able to communicate in a more clear, calm, and heartful manner, you see that what comes back to you and what communication comes back to you, it's also a calm, a heartful manner. Yeah. And when even at work, if you're able to create a conversation that is there's no negativity or no sense of anger or that kind of character, you receive that as well, when you give that out. But when you give out calmness, when you give out, hey, I'm setting expectation, this is what's going to happen, and this is what we're going to do, are you okay with that? Okay, if you're not okay with that, just trust me, this is going to work. Everything is about communication, and is the biggest part within our personal and professional life. Okay. So I hope that answers the question.
Thank you. I think that comes from one of our participants. A second question, very technical, towards MYNext. Does applying the internship with MYNext guarantee you employability in that particular company?
So that's a possibility, definitely. So what we're actually doing within the program, we also have this program called SIP Plus. So with SIP Plus, there's a program where you can go through your internship journey, but in all cases, it is you who have to show the organization that you deserve a spot in the organization. And what we do is with SIP Plus, for example, we want the students to be able to go from university to internship and to employment within the organization. So we created this program so that the organization do take on these interns as their employees. But all in all, again, it comes back to the student itself. Are you able to be, are you able to put yourself in a position to want that role or show that you deserve this role? Because then again, there's so many students. There's so many students out there. How do all of us organization choose who do we want to hire? So I can tell you actually the secret sauce, and I think this has been happening quite a bit.
Okay, everybody, communication. When she said the secret.
It's secret sauce, okay? And this is something both of us have said quite a bit. It's communication. When you ask, sometimes you get it. And
don't assume. I think a lot of people who has this negative, everybody goes through it.
Everyone goes through
it. They assume if I ask this question, these are the answers I'm going to get.
No, don't assume. The assumption is something that really could lose you some opportunities.
Yeah.
I found that through my journey and through my growth, the biggest part was asking and communicating. I used to, at one point in my life, I would never ask for a raise. I would never ask for I'm doing this amount of job, I should get this particular title. And I would never ask for it. But
and I always feel I don't know whether that is true, but that is a bit of that Asian culture. Yes. It's very hard for us to be very outspoken about asking for what we want. And I'm generalizing because I think it's just the way the culture
we are. That's how we are, and that's how we've been nurtured to be, right? The sense of like you wait for it to come, and then it'll come.
Work hard to earn it. I know the boss will see
they'll see it. Yeah, but that's not the case. I feel I found that when I switched that mentality and gone, okay, I know what I'm worth, I know what I'm doing, and I know what I'm achieving. Now let me show you and let me tell you that this is what I'm worth. And are you willing to be to to give me what I deserve. And at first it was very scary for me, oh my God, what are they going to say? They're going to fire me. They're going to kick me out. And then I found, wait, okay, so they're just waiting for me to ask.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay, oh, you're ready. Okay. I was like, oh, wait. So it's all our communication is what we want and where we feel when we are ready, communicate it in the right way. The way we approach it also is very important. Our body language is very important when we go in. Everyone can see if you're asking for a leadership role and then you go in fearful and like, I don't know, obviously the leadership role may not be something for that they may look at for you at the current time. So practice. But
that does not make you not worthy of that position.
Correct.
It's just not the right time.
It's not the right time, but it will come there. And when you keep practicing and trying and building your skill set, not just through your professional skill set by the book, but also your interpersonal skill set, your communication, your emotional intelligence, knowing when and where to speak what, which is also very important. I mean, sometimes you see your bosses angry, try not to go there and give them another bad news,
There's always way to manage the expectations.
Yes, manage the expectations.
Change the bad news to the good news.
To good news.
You kind of learn that, I think, with experience. Another question is, does MYNext itself provide training for individuals who does not have an academic set, however more interested in technical works, technical skill-based fields?
Yeah, not necessarily training, but not MYNext itself, but actually Talent Corp. We have all kinds of programs. We have programs for every single level of talent, which is where the whole name Talent Corp. So do go on to talentcorp.com.my. You can see there are programs called Yes Program, which is also for some technical students. There are more and more programs that are being launched on a weekly basis to monthly basis. We have some semester break programs, for example, where students who wants to just experience some conversations with some professionals just to try and understand which field they want to go into. We also have that. And trainings, for example, we don't necessarily have trainings, but we try to do programs and bring on professionals or speakers or trainers to have to give sessions to the students so that they are able to understand the programs and then connect them with these trainers overall. So we are basically the Talent Corp is basically a company that are developing all these different programs to help every single level that they're in, whether you're a technical side in a SKM or SK1-2 level. We have a few programs for that. So go onto the website and check it out. For MYNext, for example, we are a technology subsidiary under Talent Corp, and our mission overall is to create the self-awareness of the students and then all the way up to employability, where you can also experience. So, but if you do have any more questions and if you want to find out more what programs do we have, email us at hello@mynext.my, and then I'll have my team go on to share more information with you.
Nice. Thank you very much. I think we've come to the end of the session. I am again really honored to have you on board. I think 1 hour is not enough. Really, it was really time flies very fast. We were really enthralled by your story because I think you really walked the talk.
Thank you.
You walk the talk. So
I try.
The last question that I wanted to ask you before we head on, just a short one, because you have rubbed shoulders with those gurus from Mind Valleys. What were the first or something that you can sort of impart to us, like a short quote from any of the Mind Valleys gurus that would benefit the youth of our audience today?
I would say my former CEO and my former leader, which is Vishen Lakiani. He honestly was one of the people who helped me break through my fear. And I remember I was quite young when I joined the organization, and he saw my skill set the first week I was in, and or my abilities, I went into Mind Valley as a manager, and they hired me for the leadership role within that operation team. And then 1 month later, right before my probation was done, he offered me another role. But then he had this word that he said to me: the only person who can make this happen is you and nobody else. And I was like,
Wow.
okay.
Seriously.
It's okay. He's like, it's up to you. If you want this, it's on you, and it's only you. So he gave me a week to make a decision whether I wanted the leadership role. And a week later, obviously I was scared. I'm like, I just joined here for 3 months, like 2.5 months. Is this me? Am I ready? That was the biggest question. Am I ready? And then I thought, what, why not? It is me after all. And I took those words and I carry it with me throughout my professional journey, all the way till I'm here today.
Wow. Thank you. Very simple yet strong words. And it came at the right timing. And it sort of shaped your career. So thank you very much. I think that's it for today. Thank you very much. I'm Yasmin, together with Ms Orealia. We'd like to thank all the participants today. Fantastic question. Go to the website MYNext and get more information that empower yourself. Really empower yourself. Yes, the word knowledge is power is no longer relevant, but then again, the change starts with you. So again, thank you again, Ms Orealia.
Thank you.
I would like to pass it over to Farah, our MC. Thank you.
All right, thank you for the insightful session, Ms Orealia and Ms Yasmin. With that, I would like to thank everyone here for being with us today. I'm sure the participants have gained useful knowledge from our session today. For those who might have missed today's session, fear not as well, as we will upload on our YouTube channel. Before I end this, I would like to request Ms Orealia and Ms Yasmin to stay still as we are going to have a quick photo op. I believe we are good to go. Technical ready? All right, smile, 3, 2, 1. All right, can we have another one? Technical ready? In 3, 2, 1. All right, fantastic.
Thank you.
So stay tuned for our next webinar series and follow us on our social media at EduCity Official for YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok for updates. Please turn on your notification for upcoming events and webinars by EduCity. Till then, stay safe, and we'll see you in the next series.
Bye.
This is where it begins. A place where she can dive into her dreams and swim against the current to reach her goal.
It is a starting point of a journey to explore uncharted territories, to use new knowledge for the best of mankind,
immersing in sustainable lifestyle, where you can feel the breeze on your skin. It's times like this that makes you feel alive. A time to create, a time to capture precious moments.
Where dreams are no longer just a dream, but the beginnings of a new reality. This is where I harness my potential.
This is where I explore possibilities.
This is where I expand my mind.
This is where a story begins. This is EduCity.